everyone to part 2 of ET Catalyse Crypto Special. Part 1 was Crypto 101, how India became the hottest place for crypto trading. It covered the business of cryptocurrencies, how they function, and why they excite investors despite controversies. The theme for part 2 is crypto marketing, opportunities, and challenges. We look at how this industry is marketing itself to the masses amidst regulatory uncertainty and what lies ahead. While crypto has attracted a lot of young investors, how do you evangelize a historically conservative, risk-averse people? Which media mix works, which does not? My name is Miloni Bhatt, and joining me are Ramalingam Subramanian, Head Brand and Marketing CoinDCX, and Sharan Nair, Chief Business Officer of Coinswitch Kuber, which is an aggregator of exchanges. Welcome, Ram and Sharan. Good to have you on ET Catalyse. The Indian cryptocurrency market has exploded over the last few years, and NASSCOM reports suggest that it may touch about $240 million in India alone. Now, NASSCOM is the premier trade body and chamber of commerce for the tech industry in India. Now, as demand rises, so does the need to define crypto and its related activities and framework. So investors are protected, and therefore we have a clear legal stance on cryptocurrencies. So my question to you, Ram, is what do you think are some of the regulatory challenges of marketing crypto in a country like India?
As we move forward, as we are looking at greater adoption, there is going to be a divide that is there in terms of understanding of this asset class. There's a big gap that we need to bridge. And various players, us and the industry in India, have tried different ways to ensure that this gap is bridged. The regulatory challenges per se starts way from defining the entire space. Like, how is it an asset? Is it a currency? What is it all about? That's the first step to any of these discussions, and a lot of work has happened in this regard. There are like BACC, which is a body that we have formed. They have come up with certain set of guidelines. At the regulatory level, like at the government level or the ASCII body or bodies like this, they have come up with certain, or they are coming up with certain plans and guidelines on that front. There is some advancement over there. And at individual level, at exchanges level, right, us or my colleagues here and others in the industry, they have also taken certain steps where they decide how do they want to proceed. When it came to us, and when we decided that we wanted to open up our India business in 2020, we chose an approach about educate and acquire. And I'm pretty sure most of our colleagues used the same method. And that's where we went forward. We created content, we created an academy, we created a safer framework to enter into the space, and so on and so forth. There is an asymmetry in terms of understanding of this space. Everyone has their own particular view, and some level of standardization here will help. And perhaps that's the direction where we can start moving forward when it comes to this particular discussion.
Right. Sharan, your platform and Rams put out ads on crypto. There was a backlash. Critics pointed out that you're marketing a financial product and not quantifying or alluding to the many risks involved. You know, they said that there should be caveats like ads of mutual funds, where they make it clear that the product is subject to market risks. Now, how has that impacted your advertising and marketing strategy, and what are your takeaways from it?
Primarily, when we decided to go ahead and do ads, right, and I think it's true for industry itself, the idea was not just to acquire users, right? For a very, very long time, crypto was a taboo, spoken in hush-hush corners of the rooms, right? And I think players prior to that, this generation at least, kind of did not really want to pull it out and speak out loud about it. But we wanted to change that, right? We wanted to become and ensure that, you know, it gets spoken out loud. It's not a taboo. We need to talk about it, right? I know people who invest in crypto not really speak out that they invest in crypto because they're too scared of speaking out. So whole idea about going big, especially with IPL and stuff, has been with the idea that, listen, we want to show people that crypto exists, and it's a concept that's pretty much thriving in India, right? And there are players operating in that end. Now, when people say that ads were designed to mislead users, and you know, there's no mention of risk associated with crypto, that's not true. I mean, 99% of the players have put out disclaimers. I did not see any ad out there which did not have disclaimers. In fact, legally speaking, we're not even required to do any of this, right? But we still do it, right? We still have our own framework around how the advertisements go out, what are the do's, what are not do's, the BACC that Ramalingam earlier mentioned, right? In consultation with them, in consultation with some other bodies, relevant bodies, we've come up with a framework that we apply to, which we not necessarily legally don't have to, right? Now, the fact is that as much as people talk about, oh, there needs to be checks and balances, there needs to be regulation around it, the industry is batting for the same. I do not know where the message comes from where people say industry is on the other side, industry doesn't want regulations, or it's just like a rogue in the market and just trying to lure everyone. That's not true. I think almost all of our ads have been extremely responsible, have been educative to the user base. And to be very honest, there's so much you can do in 10 seconds of ads, right? But if you look at the kind of work we've done, at least in terms of content that Ramalingam was mentioning with his platform, also having a content platform, we also having our blog, Kuberverse, where we educate so much to the users about how to enter into the space, what are the safeguards, how not to fall for a scam, right? Pointing out the risk of investing in crypto and all of that. And a lot of responsibility and maturity has come from the industry as such. But however, we take those feedbacks, wherever we have got in a positive sense, we're trying to work very closely with bodies like ASCII to kind of regulate and figure out how the advertising standards should look like. And some of this results would be seen in a couple of weeks from now.
Right. But, Sharan, one of your ads had a very popular, a huge Bollywood icon, right? In the ad, but when Kuberverse or all of that doesn't have that icon. So the attraction that people feel, obviously there is going to be a big uptake of a Bollywood star or an actor saying certain things, as opposed to someone going through reams of information. That, of course, the offtake for that is going to be limited, isn't it?
True, but here are the limitations, right? You get a 10-second ad slot. Right? You can't entirely educate the depth of things in the 10-second ad slot. That's technically not possible. Anybody who's tried making an ad will tell you that, right? What the purpose of the ad is to tell people that crypto exists. The purpose of the ad is to tell that there's a platform, right? That people could go. When you enter the platform, what is the first thing that you show in your mobile app? The first thing that you see in the mobile app is predominantly your blog, right? Which talks about how to invest in crypto. So you're basically pulling a large audience, which is true. The intent of it is to pull the audience, and taking them to a place where you have enough information on how to navigate. And that's not just true with us. I think that's true with every other exchange player out there.
Right.
In fact, because there are no regulations, we have been supremely worried about how users behave on the platform. We're supremely worried about the kind of tokens that we want to list on our platform, right? Say, for example, we have our own framework of how we want to list the tokens on our platform. CoinDCX has its own framework of how they want to list tokens on the platform. So I don't think it's entirely accurate to say that, the whole advertising thing that happened in the last couple of months had to do with misleading anybody.
Right. You made your point that you essentially wanted to make your presence felt, and that's what you attempted to do. Ram, to you now, for CoinDCX, do you feel joining the Advertising Standards Council of India to support the advancement of advertising standards helped promote transparency and build confidence in the public?
Taking from what Sharan just said, right, we want to bring in familiarity, right, in the space. It's not something to be not spoken about, and we can't just talk to one side of it. There's an entire ecosystem that needs to be built, right? Advertising Council of India is an important member who would be a key player in this space, right? Started thinking of becoming a member way back, I think in May, or when we started this discussion, was from this idea that Advertising Council also needs to play an important part, and they also need to be educated. They also need to understand what's happening. And over the last few months, I think with BACC and all the other players also joining it, we have been able to communicate that. It's an important step, right? If we just look at one piece of ad versus if you look at the kind of things that the industry has done, if you look at the number of steps that we have taken to ensure that right education happens, right? At the end of the day, we are all here building an industry. We don't want to do something that will hurt the industry, right?
Right. So what I really wanted to understand, Ram, is that, has that, you're being part of ASCII, ASCII giving you insights, how has that impacted, or has it impacted your strategies when it comes to marketing your products?
As I said, right, it definitely helps to have that experience. It definitely helps to attend certain meeting sessions, webinars, also have also use them as a sounding board while we plan. To a large extent, our membership with ASCII has helped us refine our strategies.
Okay.
We had certain plans in mind. Cross-verifying with them definitely helps. It has helped the other way also. ASCII has also understood certain nuances of the space, which I feel is very important for the overall ecosystem.
Sharan, between your company and Ram's, you have about 10 million active users, would you say? Can we assume that?
We have about 10 million registered users.
You have 10 million registered users and active.
Which is about 14 million right now.
Okay. So, there are millions of users. Let's just assume that. Should we assume that most of them, if not all, most of them are knowledgeable about crypto?
It's really difficult to say how many of them are knowledgeable about crypto, but how do you decipher this, right? How do you know what the trend is? For me, the key metrics are like, okay, initially, what kind of coins were they investing in, right? Were they investing in coins which were like fringe at the edge of it, like just got started and all of that, right? Versus are they investing in coins which have been there for a long time? So we've seen a gradual shift and in some of these key metrics. Say, for example, we have seen gradually people move and investing in more established tokens, like, for example, a Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then maybe gradually then moving forward and putting into more riskier crypto assets. That's one trend that we have clearly seen. We've seen people doing systematic investment rather than just coming in bulk, putting in money and moving out of the market when the market goes ups and down. Now we see people coming in making systematic investments into that, right? We also see folks holding on to and not falling for rumors, not falling for sometimes media reports that kind of sometimes it's put out in a hurry and then people go around selling, panic selling. We've seen that also kind of reduce a lot now. We've seen people having whatever we call in our term diamond hands, right? Holding strong to what they're holding. This kind of really tells us that people have now understood what they are into, right? Was this initially true? Not. But and I think a huge role in this aspect has to come with the kind of education that exchanges have given out, right, to all these users that's getting onboarded on a daily basis.
So would you say that investors now understand the risks?
I think they fairly do understand the risk now, right? If in one of our user research calls, which is a thing that we quite often do, where we pick up a bunch of users, try to talk to them, what we've seen is that a lot of people have now investing in crypto alongside their portfolio of stocks, mutual funds, and all of that. So they've looked at it as an asset class, right? Do they understand there are risks? They absolutely understand there are risks, right? There's always a certain section of society which is putting in money because they want to get extremely rich. That's always going to be there. And that's true for every other asset class as well, right? But a majority of them have kind of moved on from that mindset to a mindset of sustainable investment. And I think I wouldn't really blame them. I think it was not there earlier because educational efforts have been very limited in the past. That has dramatically changed now. There's a lot of educational effort happening. We work with a lot of large media platforms, including yours, to give out this education. So I think there's a huge shift in that.
Ram, Sharan says that, users have now matured. They're understanding the risks and, it is visible in the actions that they're taking. From your perspective, has your product profile changed in any way when it comes to engaging with this user who you say, who Sharan says is perhaps a little more knowledgeable than before?
From our perspective, see, we have a two-product strategy. We have a product for people who want to enter into the space. We have a simple product built for them. And we also have an advanced product for people who have understood or who want to probably take more risks, want to play the market much better, who understand the space much better. So we have a pro platform available. So we have seen we have seen adoption of the Pro platform also happening with these user bases. And what Sharan mentioned, we have seen similar activities on the platform, people diversifying within crypto. Right. So one point that that I can share, right? We do these seminars, webinars, regular engagement activities within the community, and we have seen the kind of involvement, the number of people participating in it for different asset classes, for different tokens and assets within this space. I've seen that has grown tremendously because people want to seek knowledge, people want to take an informed decision. Are they aware of the risks? Yes. Hence, they are able to decide between two different platforms. This is one. This is for me, and this is slightly riskier. I might go at it later. From a product standpoint, we have also started to bring in much more tools and features which will help them manage this risk much better. And something that we launched very recently, a new P&L feature. I have seen people sharing screenshots of that P&L feature in various communities and groups and trying to understand how do I balance my portfolio better, and so on and so forth. I literally had one such customer coming to our office, and he said how important that feature has become for him to run his daily focus on how he invests and how he trades. And one day it did not work for him because of some reason, and he was right in our office saying, "Yeah, please solve it for me." So things have moved in that direction. People now are getting some understanding of how to do this. One important aspect is people are still taking adequate caution while they are investing. So people are, as communicated by almost all exchanges, people are taking smaller steps. People are taking informed choices when it comes to how much of their portfolio they put in this space. And perhaps from those strategies is where I feel that we can come to a conclusion about the understanding that people have around the risks and the overall maturity that they have.
Right. And especially because, the kind of investors, or especially from what we've heard from crypto platforms such as yours and Sharan's, is that the age of the investor who invests in crypto is, much lower than those who invest in other markets. So for you, is that a sign of how quickly this user base is adapting, or its adaptability?
It depends also on, when this discussion or this point comes on a regular basis, right? I feel like if you look at India, right, India is like that, right? So this generation is digital savvy. They understand how to maneuver digital platforms. They are on all Telegrams, Twitter. They are on all social media. They are on Instagram. They follow Reddit. They have people that they learn from. This particular group was very natural to adopt or adapt first to the crypto space. Does that mean that the generation that is there on stocks or mutual funds are not adapting? They are also, right? And we have seen a phenomenal growth in that as well, right? As a percentage, they have also phenomenally grown over the last few months. Are they the biggest segment? I don't think so. They'll be the biggest segment ever, in the sense, because this portion of or this segment of people is still the largest segment in India, right? Demography wise, they are the leading segment. They will mature. They will learn more. And secondly, right, these people are also present in, say, other asset classes in a very similar way, right? Today, some certain things that I have realized is maybe crypto first was their approach to investing, but people have realized that there are other options I can learn. I have learned a lot from crypto. Now they are going and demanding in other asset classes. Why can't I get information, or why can't I build communities like this? I still remember when crypto community was largely on Telegram, and all the conversations were happening there in depth. Other asset classes started slightly late, right? And now they have also picked up, and Telegram is also live with other asset classes being discussed there, right? So it is this adoption in this space is but natural. and nothing to be surprised about. Rather, it would have been that way in any other format.
Sharan, to you now, crypto being a digital asset with global availability. So for a crypto market here in India, which is the best way to reach the Indian consumer? So what is the kind of a media mix that you look at?
The thing about investment in India, if you look at it, right, there's a lot of social angle to it, right? While you can build a brand with going mass out, say an IPL and all of that, but the core conversion, when someone really starts investing, happens through social circles, where you start seeing your friends and family kind of start investing in it, right? What we have corely focused on is that if you can educate enough users around crypto and tell them how to get started, right? The basic whole idea, is it legal, illegal? That's the first question everybody has, right? And then create this huge huge number of users who are like your community or your ambassadors, right? And the kind of people they bring in, mostly through word of mouth, that's been the largest stretch that we've seen, right? All mass media helps, absolutely. But it's kind of, mass media doesn't really lead to a lot of conversion immediately because it's just a lot of brand building. Another one place that will work really well for us have been what Ramalingam is mentioning, a lot of webinars and seminars that we've been doing with a lot of investor sets, right? We've done a bunch for rural women about investments in general, right? And there we don't just go with a crypto agenda, we also take along with us stock experts, mutual fund experts, right? Because the whole idea is not just to push crypto, but the whole idea is that people should start investing in, right? Okay. In some cases, crypto might not be suitable for them, right? Or might not be what they should be putting a lot of money into. For a certain age group, crypto might be what they should be exposing themselves more to, right? That depends. Another place that has worked phenomenally well is vernacular, right? Because a lot of people in tier 2, tier 3 cities who are now warming up to the idea of investment, right? Primarily because now they're well connected and the internet rates are cheaper, the smartphones are cheaper, so they're very well connected. And they don't have much avenues to spend money in tier 2, tier 3 city any which ways, in luxury and all of that. There we have seen the whole vernacular outreach has kind of really helped.
So this brings us to our next segment. This is a segment we call quick takes, and these are short bites by panelists on key tips and pointers.
One is definitely the growth of personal finance and the kind of commitment that people are putting into that. The growth of belief that we will be able to somehow through various smart decisions be able to define our future, right? That belief that has grown over the last couple of years is also driving, and that's what people are seeking out, right? Either it be crypto, blockchain, or be any other form of asset, people are seeking that. And the third is definitely the growth of technology and the multiple options are available in terms of application within blockchain, right? And world has now started picking up hundreds of things that can be done using this technology, and definitely that's growing the crypto ecosystem.
Community. I think no industry has kind of leveraged community the way crypto has done it, because it's truly a community-led product, right? Second, very technically, referrals have worked brilliant for crypto and trading products in general, right? Whether it's even a Zerodha would kind of do that. And third is going vernacular, because I think a lot of marketing teams lose focus when it comes to vernacular and still cater to just the tier 1 crowd, and no one is really unlocking the potential in tier 2 and tier 3 cities.
So one important accomplishment that I can think of is we are right now the second largest community of developers in blockchain space, right? And we are contributing and creating applications for the world. Are we the leaders in this space? Not yet, but not very far behind. We have brought in newer ways to connect to consumers, given them multiple options, and made people rethink their strategies on how to reach out to consumers. and as a body that we are working towards like self-regulations and the importance of education. I think as a player, I feel as an industry, we have put in a lot of efforts in that space. So maybe something for newer technologies or newer systems that might come in future to pick from.
I think one of the key accomplishments that I see crypto has done, right, for any Indian entrepreneur to succeed in the past, you really had to have an H-1B visa to San Francisco or California or any of the startup places, right? And today I see, right, kids, youngsters from smaller towns launching projects, not having to go anywhere to entirely build it out in a decentralized fashion. I think it's a huge paradigm shift, right? What often gets lost in conversation about crypto is very often we talk about prices, we talk about assets, but what really, like how Ramalingam touched upon developers, what we are not talking enough today, at least in India, is the kind of potential that our developers have, right? Some of the largest DeFi projects, whether it's an InstaDApp or layer solutions like Polygon, are all built by brilliant Indian minds. Right? We're no longer trying to become the CEOs of companies established outside, but we're building our own homegrown companies into a much larger space. Right? This is the promise of crypto. This is exactly what we as industry talk to regulators, right? This is the promise of crypto, not a guy putting in 1,000 rupees and making 10,000 rupees.
All right.
Sure.
Thanks very much, everyone. This brings us to the last segment, and we call it the rapid fire. So, Ram and Sharan, here's what happens. I ask you a couple of innocent questions, and you have to respond very, very quickly. So you can think, but no long webinar type answers allowed. Okay. Which is the next breakout cryptocurrency?
I would say Ethereum, and I'm playing very safe. Ethereum is definitely something that is undervalued today.
Sharan? Crypto trading has been legalized in India. What is the first thing that you see if you wake up 5 years from now?
I see people building crazy algorithms, right, and trying to build arbitrage opportunities in microseconds.
Well done, both of you. Thanks very much. That was fun. And this is the end. So thanks very much, Sharan and Ram, for taking the time out to be part of ET Catalyse Crypto Special. It's been very interesting to get your perspectives on marketing crypto, winning users, especially when there's been a regulatory haze. Hopefully, we'll have better clarity very soon. Thanks very much for your time. And to our viewers, if you enjoyed this session, do not forget to check out part 1 of ET Catalyse Crypto Special on etcatalyse.com. We look forward to all your comments and suggestions at hello@etcatalyse.com. So write it. I'm Miloni Bhatt, and I will see you soon.